Hello everyone, this is just a new series that I made up because the top 8 of Nationals was a draft and I didn't want to make a completely separate video of it as I don't really have enough to talk about for that. So I made this. It's called Event Primer for now, I'll probably change its name. I'm going to say that it's a series for just talking about events that I attend, you know, if there's enough for me to talk about to merit a video. I know it's nothing groundbreaking, but I thought I'd clean up any confusion now. The format was block constructed, and I'll get straight into the meat of the deck first, going over the key points. The main is Chrissy, as you want to be focusing on your game plan of setting up your control, and this main takes no effort on your side to flip, mixed with the ability to pick its first colour and end up being both, makes it the obvious choice. The entry count as low as the main helps a lot with it, but 2 of growing up Rarity and Pinky alongside a playset of Kevin and Rarity Soprano means you can actually play cards in the early game. After that is the most important part of the deck, all the removal and bombs. They kind of cross over as both. There's 2 Party Filly, 2 Mega Mare, 3 Method Mares, and 3 Sugar Bells. They're all friends that deny your opponent's friend in some way, be that through dismissal or through gaining control of them. My favourite performer of this list is actually Party Filly, because it may as well read that it can't be frightened because no one wants to frighten it just so you can cutie mark it again. Then the events for this section are simple. Rolling Tones, Uh-Oh, and Party of One are all playsets, because you just need them, especially Party. Making your opponent go down to only their main is completely ridiculous and wins games easily. Rolling Tones being immediate makes keeping 3 action tokens and passing just beautiful to do. After that we have only a few cards that don't really go into specific categories, and I'm going to quickly go through why they're in the list. DJ Pwn 3 Breakdown is a very obvious counter to Scootaloo, which is a very powerful main. Photo Finish is a very good alternate win condition when you're just sat there focusing on grinding the game on and on and on. Cleaning Up, well, what's worse than playing able to play 3 Party of One? Well, why not playing 6 of it instead? The recursion on it is very strong for a format where recursion isn't that frequent, and even then it also helps prevent your opponent from being able to recur cards themselves. After that we've also got Make This Castle a Home, which has only got 2 options really, as the third one interacts with resources and you run the grand total of 0, but the removal and the card draw are 2 options you really want. Last on the list are the 2 Troublemakers as playsets. Erasmappy stops other decks from ever flipping their Troublemakers to try and annoy you, but Double Diamond is where the real power is. Double Diamond can win games and create unfair situations in this deck. Does your opponent have more than 4 cards in hand and you have a Soprano in yours? Cool, player on the main phase and they don't draw off the discard. Does your opponent have 4 cards in their hand that are bad once they control no friends? Well, fear not, Party of One can make them do nothing. No, seriously, this happens all the time. The best example will be when I talk about matchups later on. The problem deck isn't anything that's surprising. Everything is a 2 of because they all do something the deck wants. Equalist Propaganda is your starting problem, having the easy confront of 4 on your side and the ability to say no to an early Night Glider. Figuring out Friendship gives you a card and is 10 on your opponent's side. I don't really think anything else needs to be said. Musical Lumber is probably the weakest of the list, but it's definitely earned its place itself, as with any board stall you can just get this worse and worse to confront. Blackmail is an obvious choice, get points because they can't recover from your party fast enough, seems good, right? And lastly is Unreasonable Demands. It just says goodbye to their best friend, and there's not a lot they can do about it. So with the deck gone through, I'll quickly talk about the games I had. So it was 5 rounds before the top 8 cut, and I had a bye, so I only played 4 games. Out of these games, 3 used Scootaloo, and the other was Purple Orange Twilight. The Scootaloo matchups were defeated by the fact that I ran Party of One and would just blow them out and make it so that they can't play friends or do anything with half their deck. But the one game that was won in a truly interesting fashion was the Purple Orange game. So for ages my opponent looks to have this game, they've played smart, they decided that not flipping their Twilight main is the best bet, and I sit there only making sure that he doesn't defeat my Double Diamond while I continue to dump my hand in search for 1 card, using Sugar Bells to dig with his Meticulous, and finally I draw it. Party of Oneing his board away while he had 5 cards in hand, I pass the turn. He sits there with his action tokens in the teens and looks at Double Diamond. I had Blackmail out, and at this point, well, I got a point on his turn. Then I played Photo and started getting 2 points, and try as they might, they couldn't hit my double D off the board, and after waiting till my opponent was on 13, and I think I was on 4, I pulled the game back and took victory. And with all that in mind, I'm going to quickly go over the strengths and the weaknesses of the deck. It's really good at beating decks that rely too heavily on trading traditions to fix its colours. Whenever your opponent thinks that they won't flip their main because it means you don't get 2 colours, they're basically helping you, because if you party of 1, it means they only have 1 requirement instead of 3, which is amazing for you. The deck is incredibly resilient, and it just keeps going and going. The game isn't lost until your opponent hits 15 points. Monocolour decks are easily its biggest weakness. Not being able to deny them colours because there's only 1 and they always have 3 requirement of it no matter what, means that you can't really keep them out of the game like a lot of decks you can do with. After that, the deck really doesn't like dilemmas, as it makes your opponent ignore all the higher numbers on your problems. Then, an untouched on even ground can be pesky, but usually you have the removal to get rid of it straight away. And after that, all I can think of is that the mirror match must be absolutely terrible. There are 3 cards that are honourable mentions that just didn't make the cut. There's Food Fight, Discord on a Roll, and It's a Secret to Every Pony. Food Fight could replace either Uh-Oh or the song, but I preferred them myself. The debate between Discord and Arismapi is a long one, and in the end Arismapi won when I was building the deck. And It's a Secret could take the slot of Musical Number very easily, as playing Sugar Bell for 2 action tokens is gross, and using a Method Mares or Party Filly for 3 is just incredible. The deck went 5-0 in the tournament, making me first for the top 8 cut. And then it was the top 8 draft. And my first thought was, well, everyone thinks that Blorange and Purple Orange are the best, so I'm going to ignore those colours and look elsewhere. Looking at my first pack, I saw Method Mares, and thus I was drafting white. After seeing an AK J.Lang and the vote, I knew what I was building. So then I had a mono white splashing blue for some dual coloured cards with a little bit of filler. So 3 Detective Duds and 2 Magic Wings in a format low on removal seems good, and it was. It got me to 2nd place, losing to a blue-orange deck that splashed white because Applejack's hat is dumb. And well, yeah, they drew it and I lost to its insanity, but in less than 4 hours of sleep, I was glad to get to top 8, let alone everything else that I managed. I feel like ending the episodes with a small event review is probably quite fitting, so I'm going to give it a quick go. I want to say thank you to Dead Universe Comics and Asvidium? I think it's Asvidium Games, for hosting such an absolutely awesome event. The setup was great, the enthusiasm of those running the event was infectious while not being annoying. The winner game to get a booster going on made it feel like every game was relevant even if you weren't fighting for top 8, and the raffle going on each round for promos among other things kept the atmosphere on point. Leaving small time for being disappointed by a game loss or anything else that could put you in a bad mood. There was only one small gripe I have with the organisation, and that's the geography. Aylesbury, while having great people to host there, is a place that only has a town centre, making it not big enough for cross-country public transport to get you there easily, which made getting from Liverpool a long drive being our only option if we didn't want to stay multiple nights in the area. Also, the tickets there were really overpriced. I just want to say thank you for watching, everyone, and I hope to see you in the next episode. I'd just like to thank everyone's patience with me while I went on hiatus there unannounced. I'm very sorry about what happened, but I'm back now, and I'll be a bit rusty for a while, but I'm going to try and get back to my peak, which isn't very far off from where I am right now anyway, so yeah. Thanks for your patience anyway.